Hi, guys. Welcome back to 20s Confidential. Today, we're talking about glow ups. Teeny. So, everyone seems to have their own definition of glow up, and I really do think it comes down to each individual person because it really means something different for everyone. People thrive off different things, and the whole point of a glow up is to be a better version of yourself inside and out. And I think a lot of the time, people get so caught up in the physical aspects of the glow up that we forget about the intrinsic side of a glow up. And arguably, that's the most important part. So, I'm really excited to dive into this topic today. I think it's fun to talk about, and it's also a great topic for going to the new year. A lot of us have New Year's resolutions, and I know a lot of the time mine is to better myself in one way or the other. So I think by exploring this topic, if we have the right mindset around a glow up, then we're more likely to be able to achieve it if it's coming out of a place of grounded self love. So, with that being said, welcome back to 20s Confidential, the go to podcast for 20 somethings navigating self love, growth, and just enough chaos. Very excited for this episode. Let's get into it. Foremost, there are two aspects of a glow up: the physical side and the intrinsic or the emotional side. Sometimes people forget about the intrinsic aspect because you can't really see it, but it actually arguably is the driver of the physical side. So, we're going to talk about the physical aspects of a glow up first, and then we'll get into the deeper emotional stuff. So, first of all, I want to disclose this, and don't come at me. Honestly and truly, there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to look good. There is nothing wrong with wanting to like the way you look and to look a certain way. Nothing wrong with it. There can be something wrong with it if you turn it into self deprecation or self hate, but there is nothing wrong objectively with wanting to look a certain way. And when I feel good about myself physically, in some ways it translates to the mental aspect, which we'll dive into more of that later. But just wanted to say, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look a certain way. It's not the most important thing, obviously, but having a nice body, looking good, it demands a certain level of respect from other people, and it also just makes you respect yourself more. Especially if you had to put in the work to achieve a certain look, I guess. Like if you're really fit, that's impressive, and that is very respected because you had to work hard for that. So people like to overemphasize the physical parts of a glow up, but also kind of water it down too. So it depends the way you look at it. It just depends on the relationship that you have with yourself. That's really what it comes down to. That brings me to kind of the first aspect of a physical glow up, taking care of yourself physically. Whether it's a skincare routine or a new workout regimen or focusing more on nutrition, whatever it is, taking care of yourself physically demands a certain level of respect. It's also one of the highest forms of self-respect that you can have. If you can stay disciplined with taking care of yourself physically, you are physically loving yourself and taking care of yourself. And if you're committed to doing that every single day, even if it's not always the easiest thing to do, that's going to give you so much confidence and so much self-respect and such a strong self-concept because you trust yourself to do what makes you feel good and you're looking out for yourself long term. So, taking care of yourself physically shows other people that you're disciplined, and it shows yourself that you're disciplined. And this is going to boost your confidence, and it's going to give you momentum to chase other things and accomplish other things because you've already proven to yourself that you can do this. And it gives you that sense of accomplishment. So here is how it gets toxic. And it's if you are not going about it with the mindset, I'm taking care of myself, I am loving myself, I'm doing this for my best interest to be the best version of myself. If it's coming from a place of self-deprecation or self-hate and you want to change the way you look because you already don't like yourself, that's where it gets toxic. And if you think about it like this, it's never going to be enough for you or just wanting to look good for the vanity of it. That will never, ever be enough motivation. At least for me, it's not. I have to have some kind of intrinsic motivation for why. If you have no emotional driver, then you're never going to feel like it's enough because you're constantly seeking more external approval from the way you look. And if you're only being driven by the external rewards, say validation or instant gratification, it's never going to be enough for you. It's never going to be enough for you because once you get that validation from other people or you feel that instant gratification, you're going to be searching for something else. It's not going to last. I think this is why people get addicted to aesthetics like lip filler, Botox, hair extensions, which I am all for it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm a total supporter of aesthetics and lip filler and Botox and a boob job, whatever. I support if it's for the right reasons. But I think this is why it gets addicting. People that are only driven by external rewards will never feel satisfied. And that is why it's so addicting to do quick fix things like that, because it's giving you instant gratification when you're not actually taking the time to take care of yourself fully. I do think that working on yourself physically, focusing on your health and fitness, and maybe you get a little bit of lip filler and hair extensions. As long as you're doing the other things and you're motivated from a place of self love, you're going to be a lot more successful with your glow up because you're self motivated and you are chasing that feeling of, I'm taking care of myself and I am doing this because I love myself. And this motivates me to do other things. And I also think this flows over into other areas of your life. For me, whenever I feel slightly put together, maybe I blew out my hair that day or put on a new outfit or ate a healthy breakfast and went for a run, this flows over to other areas of my life, especially when it comes to things that need self-discipline. So I definitely think it's correlated. Sometimes caring about the way you look is not such a bad thing. It can also be a really good motivator for you because if you already feel good on the outside, it can kind of translate into the inside as well, and vice versa. That being said, it does not mean that one is caused by the other. Like, correlation does not equal causation. It's science. And just because you start to look better on the outside does not mean that you actually feel better on the inside. It can mean that. It can be associated, but it doesn't directly mean that just because you look better on the outside means that you feel better on the inside. Because if you obsess over the external, it will never feel like enough, like I said. It is possible to have your dream body and still feel misaligned on the inside. So that is really important to realize. They're not the same. For a glow up, you need to have both the physical and the mental. I genuinely think it all comes back to self-love and the energy that you're putting into yourself. And what kind of energy is that? Is it positive energy that's come from self-love or is it negative energy from self-hate? So it really all comes back to what is motivating you. What's your motivation behind this glow up? Is it because you love yourself or because you hate yourself? If it's because you hate yourself, you need to work on the intrinsic side before you work on the physical side, or you need to change your perspective. So now getting into the intrinsic part of the glow up, the mental, the emotional, and arguably the most important part, because the way that you feel on the inside is how you're going to experience life in general. If you don't feel good about yourself on the inside, you will never be satisfied with the external, no matter what you do. So if you don't have the internal aspect of a glow up down, then the external doesn't even matter because it's never going to be enough for you. So the intrinsic glow up. This is the real transformation. It's not about upgrading your looks. It's about upgrading your standards, your boundaries, your confidence, your self-discipline, your perspective, and your overall self-love. Why do you want to have this glow up? Why are you going to get up every morning and do things that maybe you don't really feel like doing? Why are you committing to waking up every day and doing these things to have a glow up? And if you don't have your why, you'll never be able to maintain your glow up unless you have a good why. Okay, so first we're going to talk about standards with yourself, standards with other people, and the boundaries that you set to protect these standards. Okay, so standards are the principles that you set in your life that you live by. So these principles are things that reflect hopefully the best version of you. So if you have good standards, then you have these principles or rules in your life that you live by. And then your boundaries are what you do to protect that. So say I only want to be around people that make me feel good about myself. Okay, my boundary is if somebody is not making me feel good about myself, I'm going to separate myself from that person, regardless of if I want to or not. I know it's the best thing for me. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my boundary. Done. Cut. You're out. Okay. An example of something that's like between you and yourself, say you're trying to set a new standard with yourself. So maybe try to identify something that you're currently doing, like a behavior, and it's not something that you want to continue living by. Is there something that you're doing that no longer aligns with the person that you want to be? That's where you need to set your boundary to protect that. So your new standard is I don't do this because that's not who I am. I don't identify with this thing anymore because it's not what the best version of me would do. So then your boundary with yourself would be to not do that thing and to act in accordance with that standard. So it's just acting in accordance with the things you want for yourself and the person that you want to be. So that's a big part of it. And I think self discipline is a really large part of the intrinsic self discipline and self love. It really all comes back to self love because if you love yourself, you're going to do things that maybe aren't what you feel like doing in the moment. But if it's the best thing for you, that's what you're going to do. And that is also self discipline. So make sure you have your standards set and honor them. Sometimes we don't even know what they are until we do something that doesn't make us feel good. And then that's when we learn that we need to set those boundaries. I feel like a lot of the time in our 20s, I know I'm like this. Sometimes I'm a little bit of a people pleaser and I let people get away with things and I don't realize that I'm doing it. And I'm like, why do I feel like shit? I wonder why. Because that didn't make me feel good and I didn't stick up for myself. That's because I didn't have that standard and I had a poor boundary. And so realizing this allows you to move forward, place that boundary where it needs to be, and just learn your lesson for next time. It's really trial and error. And I feel like it's an important thing for a glow up because if you want to glow from the inside out, you really have to learn how to love yourself the right way. And a big part of that is having good boundaries with yourself and with other people. For example, this is the first thing that came to my mind, but I feel like this is a thing that people talk about. But like a girl, if she's dating a guy that's like not good for her, she gets uglier. And it's so true. It's so true. And it has to do with, like, sometimes you glow down when you're around people that are sucking the life out of you. And it's true because glow up starts with the inside. The opposite would be a glow down, and it's you don't have good boundaries and you're not loving yourself. So, of course, you're going to glow down. It affects you physically and emotionally. And however it affects you emotionally, it affects you physically. Okay, so what it all really comes down to, guys, is self love. If your glow up is coming from that place of self love, that's going to make you feel so good. If you're doing things out of self love, it's going to be so much more enjoyable to do that thing. And it's going to be more motivating to continue because it's fulfilling and it's meaningful. And everyone is different here. I think a lot of people, after they like go through a breakup or something and they want to have like a glow up or get a revenge body or whatever, this is something that has never ever worked for me. I just cannot get motivated out of spite. I'm only motivated when it comes from something positive. And I guess some people probably can use that as motivation to get started, but I've never been motivated by this, and everyone is different here. Everyone is motivated by different things. I've never been able to stay motivated and disciplined with something if it's not coming from a positive motivation. A lot of people I think are really good at taking negative things and channeling that into action, but I have to reframe it. Even if it is something negative, I have to reframe it as something positive to be able to do it consistently. If it's just a negative thing, like if it's out of spite or anger or hatred for myself or for someone else, like it it just isn't enough for me. It's not enough for me. I have to have a positive motivator. And I think people could be different here. I don't know, but that's just me. I can only continue something if I'm putting positive energy into it. I think it is really like a really good trait to be able to channel negative energy into something positive, but I definitely think that reframe is important because you can only be motivated by spite for so long. So it's really important to reframe it reframe it as self-love and kind of change your perspective on that. I think that's really important. If you can be motivated from the negative for that long, you're probably just not that happy of a person. Think about it in a positive light, and I think it'll be a lot easier to continue doing. So, it really all comes down to self-love. The fact is, self-love is not just a feeling that you have, it is an action. Self-love, or my definition of self-love, is taking action in your own best interest. Even when you don't want to, it's taking care of yourself and doing the right thing for yourself, even if it's not what you feel like doing in the moment. And that ties into self-discipline. It's long-term thinking and doing the thing that supports becoming the best version of yourself, embodying your future self and the person that you want to be, and taking actions that align with that. That is true self love, in my opinion. It's not just a feeling that you have, it's the action that comes with it. So, having enough love for yourself to take care of yourself emotionally and physically, that is what's going to give you a damn good glow up. It's looking out for yourself. It's staying disciplined. It's doing the things that you say you're going to do. And it's being self aware. Be able to identify those thoughts and behaviors that might be holding you back, because that's how we set those standards and those boundaries. And that's how we step into the next version of ourselves that feels hot and looks hot. And in doing these things, you're going to build so much self-confidence. And when your why becomes about self-love, that's when you're really going to show up every single day for yourself. And that's when you're really going to have that glow up. So yeah, we all want to have that glow up. We all have things we want to work on. The fact is, it all comes down to self-love. And I think that's something we can all do, whether we want to have a glow up or not. With that being said, guys, thanks so much for listening to 20s Confidential. Here's to glowing, growing, and embracing the chaos of our 20s. See you guys next time.